Wait, just to be clear, are we really keeping this giant water thing? Is that what's happening?
It has to, you guys.
Okay.
Although
it's driving me nuts.
We are going to need to talk about the elephant in the room, which is my Stanley. Are we actually recording right now?
Yes.
I need to have a conversation with the ladies of the world. If you are listening and you own a Stanley, I'm going to need you to come to the Full Focus Planner community and post your photo of your desk or your car or wherever you're sitting with your Stanley 40-ounce cup. Because Ken over here is a little bit judgmental, but he's never tried it, which is why. And ladies know this. The guys are judgmental until they try it, and then they love it.
You know what, Marissa? If you get me one, I'll try it.
Okay. We'll get you one that says focus on this. How about that?
Love it.
Okay. Are you guys ready to get to know us? Because we're ready to get to know you and each other, because honestly, we've only worked together for...
Feels like 10 years.
It does feel like we've gone through a lot. We've gone through a lot. But I think it's only been like 5 months.
8 months? What's March? March.
Okay. It's been a little longer. But today,
8 months.
We are going to peel back the curtain and let you guys in on who we are, some fun facts. We're going to talk about our favorite rituals and things like that. And hopefully you guys are going to actually like us because we are brand new to this and we're excited, but it's a little nerve-wracking. I'm not going to lie.
No, it's fine. We're going to do great. You're already doing
Be nice
great.
in the reviews, guys. Be nice. It's our first episode.
No, roast her. It'll be awesome.
We get enough of that from you, okay?
Welcome to another episode of Focus on This, the most productive podcast on the internet, so you can banish distractions, get the right stuff done, and finally start loving Mondays. I'm Ken Freire with your host, Marissa Hyatt.
And so it begins.
So Marissa, tell our wonderful people, what are we doing today?
Well, we are going to get to know each other, and you guys are going to get to know us. We thought it would be only appropriate that we start with an episode, talking about who we are, what our likes are, what our dislikes, our fears, all the things, because it's kind of weird to just jump in without you guys really knowing us. You have heard us before on the podcast, but let's be honest, it's only been a few times, and we want you guys to properly have an introduction to who we are.
All right, Marissa, before we jump into asking some of our fun questions, just tell the audience a little bit about who you are.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I am... I was going to try to say something witty, but we're not there yet. I'm the director of marketing here at Full Focus, and I have been here for 5-ish years, which is pretty awesome. I am the youngest of 5 daughters. Some of you may know my father, Michael Hyatt, he is a New York Times bestselling author and the creator of our beloved Full Focus Planner. So if you have heard his podcast or you've listened to his books, or, you might be a planner user,
Never used it.
You might, this is going to go well. This is going to go really well, guys. But I have 4 older sisters. I'm the youngest. I am an Enneagram 8 for those of you who are Enneagram nerds, with a very strong 7 wing. Let me think. What else do we want to say? I live in East Nashville here in Tennessee. I love baking sourdough bread. That is one of my favorite things ever to do. Pretty much every weekend you can find me doing that, or hiking. I love hiking when it's not 90 degrees and 100% humidity in Tennessee.
It's only 87 today, so you should be able to go.
And it's what, October 3rd, I think, when we're recording. Yeah, it's a little bit hot. I think that's mostly me.
Sounds great.
So what about you, Ken? First of all, we have to address the last name.
Yes.
Because people need to know how to say it properly.
There's going to be like 50 different ways to say it. I'm cool with whatever.
Teach us the right way.
All right. If you're Hispanic, you should be able to do it or know how to speak Spanish, because you'll roll both the R's. Okay. So it's Freire.
Freire.
Hey, that's not bad. There you go.
There we go. Okay.
That was her 100th try before.
I gotta really practice that, because I'm going to have to introduce you at some point.
It's okay. My wife is still practicing. After 12 years, she's like, dude, I'm not saying our last name. Yeah, I was born and raised in New York City. So I've been around the whole country, because I moved when I was 19 to Texas. And then after 7 years, I moved to Minnesota.
Wow.
Lived there for 9 years. And then I started working from home and decided, why not move to Middle Tennessee, where we live south of Nashville now, where I have a beautiful wife, been married for 12 years now, and have 4 kids, 6, 4, 2, and at the time of this recording, a 12-week-old.
So pray for Ken.
Yes, a lot.
A lot. He needs it.
So if it's not for Nick editing my ridiculously witty, sassy comments, just know that it's a lack of sleep or just me.
We'll just blame it on the sleep for sure.
Let's blame it on the sleep.
Okay, what was your first ever concert? I feel like this is revealing for a number of reasons, but let's hear it.
Ooh, I don't know. I mean, I know my first concert was a Lecrae concert.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to figure out how revealing that is because...
Christian.
Yes.
Rapper.
Yes.
That's all I know about Lecrae.
That's all you need to know.
Okay. Well, there's Ken.
Yes, I love hip-hop music, yes.
Okay, I do too. My first ever concert, which has recently made a comeback, and I will absolutely be buying tickets, is NSYNC. My mom surprised us.
Shocker.
She was taking my older sister to the concert in downtown Nashville, and she took my the sister right above me along for the ride. And I must have been, I don't know, 9. And she was like, all right, we're just going to drop Mindy off and we're going to go eat at the Hard Rock Cafe on Broadway, which we thought we were so cool. But we were so sad because we didn't get to go to the concert. And so she drove around the block and then comes back around to the concert venue and is like, actually, I got us all tickets. And she was like, get out and go. And we started screaming and freaking out. And it was like the absolute best concert. Still to this day is one of the best concerts I've ever been to.
That's awesome.
It was a blast. Okay, let's get to something a little serious. What is your favorite daily ritual?
My favorite daily ritual.
Just give
How
people.
about you go first?
Well, the people probably listening know this, but in the Full Focus Planner in our system, we have 4 daily rituals. And we have the morning and evening ritual, which are exactly what you think they are. And then we have a workday startup and a workday shutdown ritual. And those help you kind of like bookend your workday and tie it up nicely so that you can go, on with your life or get started and get, knock out those things you have to do every day before you jump in to the real stuff. So which is your favorite?
The workday shutdown ritual.
Okay, why?
Is my favorite. Because I like to think about the next day.
Yeah.
Right. So like I could shut everything off and already prep for the next day.
Do you create your daily big 3 in your workday shutdown or do you wait till the morning for that?
No, I do it during my shutdown.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Unless something drastic happens during the evening, like someone named Marissa texts me that I need to do something. I pretty much know exactly what to do. So I don't even need to open up my planner because I already have it there. And I just rock
that's a pro tip.
Yeah.
I don't do that. That's a good one.
It's my favorite thing.
Okay. Great.
There you go.
So what does your workday shutdown look like beyond setting your daily big 3?
I look at, did I accomplish my daily big 3 for that day?
Yeah.
Right. Did I get any major tasks that need to be done? Then I also look at our Slack channel, make sure that I've answered everything. And I look at the biggest thing that I do is I look at my weekly big 3 to make sure that I'm actually on par or on task.
That's really the pro tip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some people are like, oh, I'll just do my daily, but then you could be doing a whole bunch of dailies and not actually get your weekly big 3 done. So I look at my weekly big 3. I'm like, did I get anything done that moved the needle? And if it did, great. If not, I pivot for my daily big 3 for the next day.
That's great. That's really good. That is a pro tip to constantly look back at your weekly big 3.
I love it.
Yeah.
How about you?
My favorite's the morning ritual. I love it. That's which is funny because if you knew me in high school, I was absolutely not a morning person. I could sleep till noon basically every day. It was not my time. But now as an adult, I love the morning. I love it. And I don't know, it's quiet. I feel like I can focus on me before everything happens during the day. And it's just, I don't know, it's a good time of reflection. I use our Full Focus journal. I journal every single morning, which is one of my favorite things to do. If you haven't used a journal, try it. I feel like a lot of people haven't tried it and I love it. And I obviously get ready and do all those things. I don't work out in the mornings. That's always after work. But I do either listen to a podcast or I have a recording. I've talked about this on the podcast before, but I have a recording that I call my morning manifestation. And it's basically a recording that I did where I talk about in the present tense the things that I want in my life. So I include things like goals. I go through all the various parts of my life and talk about, essentially my vision for my life, but as if it's already happened. And I listen to that pretty much every morning. It's one of my favorites.
Okay.
Love the morning routine. All right. What is your most irrational fear?
Oh, my most irrational fear? Drowning in a dark cave.
Oh my gosh. Whoa.
I get that.
Yeah.
That's
I get
like
that.
a little
Okay, wait,
too real.
Yeah.
Ken?
It might have happened almost once in my entire life.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Does this do anything for you? What about getting ejected from like a spaceship and drifting off into space? Is that a similar vibe?
Oh,
No,
that sounds
no, but anything with deep water. So if
worse.
you were to like say, hey, you're stranded in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
So Castaway is
Oh my
your
gosh.
worst
Anything with like, yeah.
Anything with water and volleyballs? Ken is like, no.
I'm out. I'm
he's
out.
out.
I get nervous when I go to the lake. Okay.
Oh.
Like I'm just kind of like,
Wow.
I start thinking about like
but
the
why?
15 different.
What's with the cave?
Okay, quick
So
story.
this happened?
This kind of happened. So
Okay.
I am not the best of swimmer, aka I don't know how to swim.
Okay, wow. These are fun facts.
These are fun facts. So one time, my wife and I, we were with our extended family. We were going on a trip, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna go snorkeling. So first, you're gonna go through this cave and all this stuff." And I was like, "Hey, I don't know how to swim." And my wife was like, "You'll figure it out." She's like, "Just wear the vest, right? The life vest and the snorkel." And we practiced the day before in the pool to see, like, look, you can do it. And I asked my wife, I said, "Babe, no matter what happens, just stay by me in case something were to happen." She's like, "That's fine." She goes in first, and she's like a guppy. She's gone.
Leaves you in the dust.
She's out. So then I'm like, I got this. I'm a grown man. I can figure this out. So then I start going in, and as I'm swimming, all of a sudden I'm like taking in water from my snorkel.
Oh.
And I was like, don't panic. I just did a mistake. I spit it out. I put it back in. I kept going, and I just kept swallowing water.
Oh,
so now I'm panicking, and then all of a sudden I feel that my life vest is not helping me, right? And I realize I didn't pump it. It's one of those air ones that you got to pump. I didn't pump it enough. So now I am like panicking, and I'm yelling, trying to call for my wife, and she's gone. And then my father-in-law is just right behind me, and he's the one who comes and saves the day. I was like legit thought that I was going to drown. And he's like, "Hey, you probably shouldn't do this again." And I was like,
snorkeling is a little terrifying. I almost had a panic attack one time because I couldn't figure the breathing out.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't know how to do this. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
That sounds terrifying.
I will say it was my snorkel. My snorkel had a hole in it, because then I switched it with my wife, and she's like, "Oh, your snorkel has a hole in it." And she said it so nonchalantly.
You're like, I almost just died, but thanks.
Yeah, I'm like, I had a 10-minute, like, I'm trying to survive over here.
You saw Jesus's face.
Exactly.
And
I'm like, so now I don't do caves.
yeah. Okay.
And water.
Well, that's good to know.
So it's not irrational. It's kind of rational.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. Good to know.
But any deep water actually would be my irrational fear. If you talk to any of my friends, deep water,
I get that.
So if you guys have been listening to the podcast for a while, you know that Blake would often say that he was going scuba diving when he was going to take us deep down into the emotions.
Yeah. I'd have trigger. I'd
that
get
will
triggered.
apparently not be happening anymore. Okay.
We're not going to say
We're
deep.
done
No.
with scuba diving. Sorry to say.
I will say, like, let's get to the deep root issue. I'll say something like
There
that.
is no Enneagram 4 here any longer.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
like to make that clear for the people.
I'm not going to go bubble, whatever.
Okay.
I'm out.
Sorry, Blake. We'll have to bring him back on occasionally.
Yeah. We'll let him do
He'll
it.
let us take.
Well, you'll do a trigger warning for Ken.
We'll do a
Trigger
trigger
warning.
warning for sure.
For those who are listening to this, I would just say, if you feel my pain, just post it in the comments on the Facebook group so you know.
Yeah.
I'm there.
I'm sure you're
I'm
not
with you.
alone. I'm sure you're not alone.
Okay, what's your irrational fear?
Okay. Mine is very different. Couldn't be more different. So, have you ever had a Krispy Kreme?
Oh, yeah, I love them.
Don't.
Yes.
Just the basic Lay's.
Oh, yeah.
Like glazed.
You got to just go basic when you go to Krispy Kreme.
Delicious, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, stop. Ken, where do you think the story is going? This is what is about to happen?
I told you it couldn't be more different.
I don't know. It's
Just
like,
hang with me for a minute.
like a roach coming out of it or something?
No,
Or
nope. Okay, you go.
Now.
You get that napkin that is just a little 2-ply, just real thin, real thin, and it's just folded. Okay, you put your little donut in there, and you go to take your first bite. And what does that glaze do?
Gets stuck.
It just really masks the napkin. You can't see it. You cannot see the napkin.
Yeah.
So you end up biting into the napkin. And I'm telling you, that texture on the front of my teeth is my most irrational fear. It haunts me. I probably haven't had a Krispy Kreme in a decade because I can't get over the napkin. And you can't eat it without a napkin. It gets everywhere. So that's where we are.
I'm going to get you aluminum foil.
Yeah, you could get another material to hold it.
Yeah.
You just wear gloves.
No, but that just thinking about that, just biting into a napkin. Especially your first bite, that's awful.
It's just real gritty on the teeth. The other thing that gives me the same sensation is raw spinach. So if you want to know what I'm talking about, just go eat some raw spinach. It feels real weird on the teeth.
So do you ever eat spinach?
Not raw. Unless it's in a smoothie.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. All right. What's your biggest pet peeve?
Wet socks.
Wet socks.
Yes, I hate having wet socks on. It is like, if you ever want to see me get really mad and super frustrated, like think about it. You're just like in the house, you have your socks on, and all of a sudden you step on something wet. And I have 4 kids in the house, so now I don't know what it is that I stepped on.
Is it water? Is it pee?
Exactly.
Is it milk?
And it's just like, and then you got to put your shoes on. And sometimes my wife is like, just put your shoes on, you're fine. I'm like, no, I'm getting a new pair of socks. Like I can't do it.
The worst is when it's only on the toes too.
Yeah. I can't do it.
That's pretty rough.
Especially like camping. I used to love camping, but then I got this thing about wet socks and like having to go miles and miles of hiking with wet socks.
Totally.
It's just awful.
Oh, that's bad. That sucks.
What's your pet peeve?
People smacking. So these mics, I mean, ASMR is my worst nightmare, honestly, because you can always hear the mouth noises, and I really hate that. So we're gonna do our best.
She's
for
looking at me.
All of the people who have misophonia, y'all know
Is that what it's called?
It's what it's called. And it's like you hear something like smacking at the same level as everything else. And so it's not quiet. And it's just like if somebody pulls out a stick of gum, it's a no for me. I'm out. I am out.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to understand how out she is. Okay.
I have almost broken a relationship up. And someone did once tell me, they sent me a thing on Instagram that said, listen to the sound of your partner's chewing, because that is a soundtrack for the rest of your life. And I feel like that was the most true thing I've ever heard.
Okay, I got to tell you how serious she is. It was like my first in-person meeting with the marketing team. And I'm sitting next to Marissa, and she's like, hey, I made sourdough bread or sourdough bagels. Go get a sourdough bagel, toast it. She's telling me what to do. So she's like, toast. I brought some cream cheese. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. So I'm sitting right next to me, or right next to her. And right before I take a bite, she's like, Ken, I just need to tell you something that the rest of the team knows. She's like, I hate smacking of food or loud chewing. It drives me nuts. And the whole team's like, oh yeah. And I'm like, wait a minute. You just gave me a toasted sourdough bagel. I'm sitting right next to you. And I'm like,
it was a test.
It was a test. I was so paranoid. I was like,
is he gonna stay or is he gonna have to go? We're about to find out.
Well, 2 things. Number 1, green apples are when people go record in booths.
Yeah.
And they have they're concerned about mouth sounds. One of the things you're supposed to do is eat like a sour green apple. It helps neutralize and something happens. So that's one.
We gotta get those at the office.
One pro tip. The second thing is, you want to talk about nightmares, Marissa.
Oh, God.
Sometimes, depending on the show and depending on the mics and depending on the person, in order to clean up an episode, I've done it on Focus on This. I have to go in and I have to isolate all of the mouth sounds.
You have my worst nightmare of a job.
So I have to go like, you have to find the threshold of what's the voice and what's the mouth.
Oh, Lord.
And so I'm listening to just mouth sounds.
So all you're hearing.
Wow.
I didn't want to do it to her. I wasn't going to do it. So.
Well, Nick, I will keep you in my thoughts and prayers. Okay. And we will do our best to not have that happen here.
Yes.
Green apples.
I'm trying to keep my job.
That's why I have this huge thing of water. You can't get too dry, That's
fair.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I tell people Marissa's my pseudo boss. So I try to keep her happy. All right, next question.
Okay, let's go to what's your favorite part or feature or whatever you want to say of the Full Focus Planner. We're big fans here, as you know, but what is your personal favorite?
The ideal work week.
Wow. Okay,
yeah.
Unexpected. Why?
I know. So the reason why is about 12 years ago when I started following Michael Hyatt, he came out with the ideal work week template. And I just remember it revolutionized the way I thought about productivity. Because I just had such a hard time trying to figure out how do I do time blocking and how do I figure all this out? And I work in 8 to 5. I just didn't know how to structure my life.
Yeah.
And as soon as I was able to structure, this is what I want, it all these productivity tools and resources just clicked in my head.
So
I don't know why.
How often are you hitting your ideal week?
Before the 4th baby came, I would have said about 70 to 80%.
Okay, and now?
Right now, we're in straight survival mode.
Your ideal week right now is just survive.
Right. So my hope is by the end of Q4, we will be able to reset our rhythms because we're trying to find
that's good.
what that rhythm is once the baby starts sleeping through the night.
Megan once said that she said you should have your ideal week, but then I can't remember what she called it. It was something like whatever your non-negotiables, your bare minimum is out of that. And this would be true for your rituals too. And I thought this was so good because there's times, whether you're traveling, you just had a baby, I don't know, life gets crazy and figure out you have your ideal, but then you have your non-negotiable week or your non-negotiable ritual. And what is that? And then don't ever compromise. It should be super simple. You can do it on your worst, busiest day ever. And then that's your bare minimum. Yeah. And I thought that was good. I think she actually said that when they had adopted their youngest and she was at home and tiny and premature and it was just chaos. Yeah. But she had 3 non-negotiables every morning that she did.
Yeah. She told me about that right when I had my baby and I started coming back to work after paternity leave. She could tell that I was pretty oh my gosh, this is a lot. And she's like, hey, this is what I do. And it's been really helpful.
That is good.
And actually driving into the office more has been really helpful because I can lock down on my daily morning routine while I'm in the car.
Yeah. Pro tip.
There you go. All right.
My favorite is the weekly preview. It is my absolute favorite. Whenever I don't do it, I know it. I know all week I didn't do my weekly preview. It is just biting me all week, every day. It's shame, 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 shame. You didn't do it because I have no compass for my whole week. Like you were talking about being able to go back to your weekly big 3 every day and making sure, am I making progress towards that? And when I don't have that, it's it's just everything that's urgent that's popping up, or it ends up just being meetings that are on my calendar, but it's nothing meaningful, it's nothing that's actually helping me make progress on my goals. And the weekly preview does that. And I absolutely love the part where you have to put in, for the rejuvenation section, where you have to put in 3 things that you want to do that week for rejuvenation. And I don't know, it's easy to let that go and not think about it. And I just love that we help people prioritize.
Yeah.
So
I've been trying for the last 12 weeks to put sleep and the rejuvenation. I'm getting there little by little.
Little by little, exactly.
Final question?
Last but not least,
Ooh.
yeah. Can you share a memorable story of a goal that you once thought was impossible, but eventually you achieved?
I don't know if I thought it was impossible, but it was probably one of my hardest was when I was working on my master's. Mm-hmm. I decided to go full-time, school time, And I was also working full time in a nonprofit, working about 50, 60 hours a week. And I had just been married for about a year.
Were you trying to get divorced?
I was asking for a death wish for sure. Yeah. So during this 1 year, this was like my 3rd year in out of 4 years, was the hardest time. I didn't realize that my full-time workload there were modules like 8 weeks at a time. Well, 3 out of those 8 weeks overlapped. So it was literally like torture.
Oh my gosh.
And one of my classes, it was Greek, New Testament Greek, I had to study for. I literally just took 8 hours a day just trying to do that. It was absolutely
That's brutal.
Oh, it was horrific. It was the worst thing. Ooh. When I was done with that year, I was supposed to do a double master's in master's in divinity and my MBA. I had to drop my MBA because I was like, I can't do this. It's just too much. I remember just being in a corner crying sometimes because I was like, what have I done to myself? And I almost quit. Thankfully, my wife was the one who just kept pushing me. She's like, we don't have kids. We don't got nothing, right? Like, let's just keep pressing through one day at a time. And the biggest success really was just consistency of just getting up, just doing the hard thing.
Yes.
You know, so many times we want to like not do the hard thing. And I was just like, no, like screw it. Can I say screw it in here? Right?
Yeah,
like,
you can say screw it.
And like, just get up and do it.
Yeah.
Right. And I just do the hardest thing early in the morning, would wake up at 5 in the morning to work, and went to work, got off work, had dinner with my wife, and went back to schoolwork. Thankfully, she was doing her master's too. So like we just sat there and did her master's. So yeah, there you go.
I feel like consistency is such a key point in achieving goals. I actually was working out yesterday, and I do like at home, videos, and it was leg day. Okay. It was very intense, and I'm, exhausted. I'm like, I don't know that I can finish this. And the girl who's the trainer, she says, the only difference between me and you is consistency. And she was like, the reason that you're sitting here fighting through right now, she's an Enneagram 8, if you can't tell already. She was like, if you are struggling and you're frustrated because you've continued to start and stop, and it's always hard and whatever else, she was like, the only difference between you and me is consistency. I've been consistent for 12 years or whatever she said, and I thought that was so profound, and it was a great motivator. I was like, yeah, come on, make it happen. Like, keep doing this. It only is hard if you stop, and I feel like consistency is a really key point.
Yep.
It's 100%. Really good.
All right. What's yours?
I would say in 2020, I decided to pay off my car. I had like $16,000 on my loan, and I had a credit card that had like, I don't know, $5,000 or something on it. But I decided that I was going to pay it off. And it was one of the most difficult things ever. I mean, it was hardcore. And I paid off over $20,000.
That's awesome.
In 6 months.
What?
Yeah. It was like, I put every single penny and whatever, and was just determined.
I love it.
And for me, I mean, I think the biggest factor was keeping it front of mind. Like always having, I had it posted on my refrigerator, in my office, in my bathroom. I mean, everywhere. It was like, you're reminded that this is the number one thing that you need to be focusing on. And that really helped.
I love it.
I never forgot about it. Every time I went to buy something or, whatever, it was like, do I want that? Or do I want to get out of debt? I think we should wrap this up. So do you have any final thoughts that you want to share with the people about yourself or about what's to come, or just, anything?
Yeah, the thing that I'm really excited about, my journey with productivity started really when I was trying to fulfill my purpose. Like when I got a good, clear vision of what I felt called to do, I wanted to learn how can I maximize my time to be able to do that? How can I achieve my goals? And if you would have seen me 12 years ago, I was not like the greatest person. I would say I'm like an average individual, right? Like I have some good stuff about me, but I was like, I'm just average, right? She's laughing. It's like, you are average.
Don't have to tell me twice now.
Yeah. But just the ability to achieve goals, I felt the confidence of just keep going and pushing forward was tremendous. And what I want to see in this community is help people who feel average, or just like they want to crush their goals, they want to do it, or they want to find their purpose and figure out what is it that I'm called to do. I'm here for it. Like, that's what I want to see. So ultimately, I want to see people be really clear on their purpose and crush their goals based off of their purpose.
Yes.
And hear those stories from people who feel average or people who are like, no, I'm a high performer. I can crush it, right? I want to help them.
Yeah, I love that. That's so good. And I feel the same. I feel like, you know, one of the things that I feel just excited and passionate about is people doing things that they didn't think that they could do.
Oh, 100%.
Like, there's nothing better feeling that within yourself of like, man, I just did that and I didn't think I was going to be able to do that. Or seeing that in somebody else's face and the accomplishment and the excitement and just the pride and the confidence that it builds in people. I love it. Like, there's just nothing better. So I can't wait for us to not only, you know, go through this together and be able to accomplish great things and talk about that, but to inspire all of you who are listening, you know, that you can do really great things.
Yep.
And you have way more in you than you ever thought that you did. And hopefully we can do a great job to help you unlock a lot of that. Thanks for joining us on our first ever solo podcast for Focus on This.
You're not solo. You had me.
Well, okay. Fair enough.
This is the most productive podcast on the internet. So please share it with your friends. And don't forget to join us in our Facebook group.
We will be back next week talking about how to finish the year strong. It's really easy to think we're in the last quarter. It's crazy. It's busy. You know, let's just put those goals off until the new year.
Holidays are coming.
Yeah, we're just going to like survive. We're here to help you thrive. We want you accomplishing great things because you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. And there's still a lot of time left on the clock. So make sure to join us next Monday, and we'll be sharing all of our, you know, Q4 tips and tricks with you. And until then, stay focused.